Welcome back to the shadows. Tonight we explore the chilling unknown that stretches above us, a place most believed to be empty, silent. But what if I told you that beyond the stars and the moon something listened, that somewhere out there in the darkness something whispered back? Tonight we investigate the eerie phenomenon of mysterious sounds from the sky. Fasten your seatbelts and turn down the lights, because tonight we explore the sky that speaks eerie sounds heard from above. Our journey begins in the quiet, unsuspecting town of Woodland Hills, California. It was a seemingly ordinary Tuesday evening. The sun had dipped below the horizon, casting long, ominous shadows across the neighborhood lawns. Families were settling in for the night, the comforting glow of televisions flickering behind drawn curtains. A gentle breeze rustled through the trees, carrying with it the sweet scent of night-blooming jasmine. But this peaceful facade was about to be shattered. At precisely 9:17 p.m., a blood-curdling roar ripped through the tranquility, echoing across the sleepy town. Imagine, if you will, a sound so deep, so guttural that it seemed to vibrate within your very core. This was not the sound of a passing airplane or the rumble of distant thunder. This was something altogether different, something unnatural. Sarah Miller, a young woman walking her dog that night, froze in her tracks. Her heart pounded in her chest as the deafening roar washed over her. Her dog, a usually docile golden retriever named Buddy, whimpered and cowered behind her legs, his tail tucked between them. Across the street, John Thompson, a retired mechanic, was startled from his evening newspaper. He rushed out onto his porch, his pulse quickening, his eyes scanning the sky for the source of the unsettling sound. But the sky, a canvas of deep indigo speckled with twinkling stars, offered no explanation. The roar continued for what felt like an eternity, a relentless, guttural bellow that seemed to consume the night. Then, as abruptly as it began, it ceased. The silence that followed was deafening, heavier than the roar itself. Sarah, still trembling, scooped Buddy into her arms and hurried home, her mind racing with terrifying possibilities. John, his heart still pounding in his chest, retreated back into his house, his sense of peace and security irrevocably shattered. The next day, the mysterious roar became the talk of the town. Theories ran rampant, from the plausible to the outlandish. Some whispered of military aircraft testing new experimental engines, while others speculated about meteor showers or sonic booms. But none of these explanations could fully account for the sheer terror, the primal fear that had gripped the residents of Woodland Hills that night. The sound, etched into their minds, served as a chilling reminder that some things in this world defy explanation. The authorities, unable to offer a satisfactory explanation, dismissed the incident as a collective hallucination, a case of mass hysteria. But those who had heard the roar knew better. They knew that what they had experienced was real, a terrifying glimpse into the unknown that lurked just beyond the veil of our understanding. The experience left an indelible mark on the town of Woodland Hills. It was a stark reminder that even in our quiet corners of the world, the unknown can intrude, shaking our sense of security and leaving us questioning the very nature of reality itself. The roar became a chilling local legend, passed down through generations, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and shared in hushed tones. The sky, once a source of comfort and wonder, now held a hint of menace, a reminder that even in the vast expanse of the cosmos, we are not alone. Our next journey takes us to the desolate plains of eastern Colorado. Here, under an endless expanse of star-studded sky, a solitary gas station stood sentinel, a beacon of civilization in an otherwise unforgiving landscape. It was here that Thomas "Tommy" Caldwell, a young man barely out of high school, found himself working the graveyard shift. His nights a monotonous blur of cigarette smoke, lukewarm coffee, and the occasional long-haul trucker seeking a refill and a brief respite from the road. The silence of the plains, broken only by the mournful whistle of the wind and the distant howl of coyotes, was an entity unto itself, pressing in on Tommy, amplifying his loneliness and fueling a growing sense of unease. It was during one such night, the air thick with the promise of an approaching storm, that the silence was shattered by something altogether unexpected. At first, it was a faint whisper, barely audible over the low rumble of thunder in the distance. Tommy, wiping down the counter with a ragged cloth, dismissed it as nothing more than the wind playing tricks on his ears. But the whisper persisted, growing in intensity, weaving its way into his consciousness like a venomous serpent. It seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once, a chorus of disembodied voices, their words indecipherable, their tone laced with an unnerving urgency. Tommy's blood ran cold. He felt a prickling sensation at the back of his neck, the unsettling feeling of being watched. He stepped outside into the oppressive humidity of the approaching storm, his eyes scanning the vast empty plains. Lightning flashed, momentarily illuminating the landscape in an eerie, otherworldly glow. But there was nothing there. Nothing but the wind, now howling like a banshee, and the chorus of whispers growing ever louder, ever more insistent. Panic welled up inside Tommy. He retreated back into the gas station, slamming the door shut behind him, the flimsy lock offering little comfort against the unseen terror that pressed in on him from all sides. He crouched behind the counter, his hands shaking, his breath catching in his throat. The whispers seemed to surround him, to seep in through the walls, to fill the very air he breathed. He covered his ears, but the whispers only seemed to grow louder, penetrating his skull, burrowing their way into his mind. Then, as quickly as they began, the whispers ceased. The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the frantic pounding of Tommy's heart. The storm, as if summoned by some unseen force, broke with a vengeance. Our final destination takes us to the bustling metropolis of Tokyo, Japan, a city that pulsates with life, a symphony of neon lights, towering skyscrapers, and the constant hum of human activity. But even in this concrete jungle, far removed from the desolate plains and quiet suburbs, the inexplicable can rear its head. Our story takes place in the heart of Shibuya, one of Tokyo's busiest districts. A sensory overload of flashing billboards, giant video screens, and a cacophony of sound. It was here, amidst the throngs of people, that a young woman named Hana Nakamura experienced something that would forever alter her perception of the world. Hana, a budding photographer, was drawn to the vibrant energy of Shibuya, her camera a constant companion as she sought to capture the fleeting moments of beauty and chaos that unfolded around her. One evening, as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the crowded intersection, Hana found herself drawn to a rooftop overlooking the iconic Shibuya crossing, a place where thousands of people converged and dispersed with each changing traffic signal. As she set up her tripod, her camera lens focused on the mesmerizing ballet of humanity below, a strange sound reached her ears. It was a high-pitched metallic whine, like the screeching of brakes on a train, but there were no trains nearby, no discernible source for the unsettling sound. Hana paused, her brow furrowed in confusion, her eyes scanning the rooftops and streets below. The sound, faint at first, grew in intensity, pulsing through the air, vibrating through her bones. It seemed to emanate from the sky itself, an invisible presence descending upon the bustling city. People around her, their faces illuminated by the glow of their smartphones, seemed oblivious to the sound, their conversations and laughter continuing unabated. Hana, however, couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had gripped her. The sound, now deafening, seemed to claw at the edges of her sanity, a discordant symphony that threatened to shatter the illusion of normalcy around her. She pressed her hands against her ears, trying to block out the piercing whine, but it was no use. The sound seemed to penetrate her very being, a sonic assault that left her feeling disoriented, her senses overwhelmed. Then, as suddenly as it began, the sound ceased. The city, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, seemed to exhale, the normal rhythm of life resuming as if nothing had happened. But Hana knew what she had heard. The experience, brief but terrifying, left an indelible mark on her psyche. The sky, once a source of wonder and inspiration, now held a new meaning, a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that might lurk just beyond our perception. These stories, diverse in their settings and experiences, remind us that sometimes the sky holds more than just stars and clouds. Sometimes it whispers, it roars, it echoes with sounds that defy explanation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling tales. Your support keeps the darkness alive. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.